Welcome to Seattle Public Utilities Ask Evelyn Live, where we answer your questions about recycling, compost, garbage, and other trashy topics. I'm your host, Becca Fong. This week, getting into gear. Your guide to outdoor recreation with just a little less waste. So this month, we are focused on sustainable consumption because when the sun comes out here in the Northwest, we all lose our minds just a little bit and we want to be outside all the time. And often what comes with all those different activities is just acquiring a lot more stuff. Hi, Vivian.
Hi.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So glad you can join us. I know, like I was saying, gotta send the invitations if you want somebody to come to the party.
Right, yeah.
So everyone, this is Vivian. Vivian, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Vivian. I work for Waste Management. I'm one of the 2 Seattle outreach specialists. And we basically work with businesses and multifamily properties and educate them on proper recycling and compost.
And she's also an Instagram Live pro. And one of her coworkers, Ronnie, who is on to graduate school right now, they were doing some Instagram Live. So if you ever want to check out Waste Management Pacific Northwest feed, they went and talked to some really fantastic local businesses and folks. So I would definitely check those out in their feed for sure. All right, Vivian. So we're talking all about outdoor stuff this week, and we've got a really good question from Marlo that came in that kind of encapsulates a lot of the questions that we get from customers pretty often. All right, so this week's question comes from Marlo. So Marlo says, I've tried a number of different activities during the pandemic and have acquired quite a bit of stuff that is still in excellent use condition. Marlo, I hear you. So she says, I've got a large day pack, a yoga ball and a mat, and some skis. I'd like to recoup some of the money I've spent. Are there any good options beyond the usual online, like OfferUp and Craigslist, for selling my outdoor gear? Also, it would be good to know about places that deal in used sports gear because I realize that used is probably a better way to go for trying out new hobbies. Thanks. All right. So there's kind of a two-parter there. So Vivian, what's your quick answer for Marlo?
So here in Seattle, I think we're very lucky to have a lot of stores that sell a lot of like used gears or where you can sell also your gear there too. And not only that, I feel like there are other ways where you can donate your gear and also rent too if you want, especially trying new hobbies.
Totally. All right. So let's get into the details. It sounds like Marlo's got lots of options. So used sporting goods. Okay. Tell me about some of these used outlets.
Yeah, so I think so there are, I'm sure there are a lot in Seattle, but of the some that I know, there's one in Fremont called the Wonderland Gear Exchange, which I've actually been to. Yeah, I actually got my bike from there.
Great.
And I've got a couple like camping like equipment from there also. And I've also sold like some of my like gently used gear there too. So that was really great. There's also Ascent Outdoors in Ballard. There's like, yeah, Play It Again Sports, like near South Lake Union.
Oh yeah.
And then I think there's also Second Gear Sports and Mountain to Sound, which is near like West Seattle. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have used both Second Gear Sports and Mountain to Sound being, in West Seattle, and they're both really, really great options. I know that they both, like Mountains to Sound Outfitters, does 2 big garage sales twice a year, and it's been a really good spot for me to pick up. Speaking of Marlo, you've got some skis. Those are pretty spendy when you buy them new. I've gotten some used gear for my kids, which is fantastic, and some used stuff for me, which is great, and a good way to just kind of try stuff out. So it sounds like there's lots and lots of options. So we've named some places, but you can certainly just kind of look around in your neighborhood. It sounds like even more have come up,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And also I feel like looking, I think Marlo already said some, like, looking at OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace. That's where I got like my used like skis was like there, and like helmet from there also. And I guess technically Buy Nothing, you don't actually like buy it, but I think like the Buy Nothing groups are a great way to just ask if you want to like borrow like gear for just like a couple days or just one day just to try something out, especially like if it's just a new hobby. It's like you don't want to go out and buy the most expensive gear. So I think finding ways to buy used or renting them or borrowing them are great ways to go about it.
Totally. So rental. So we've got Buy Nothing. Are there also some places that you can also rent some gear?
Yeah, so I just found out about this like online company called Arrive Outdoors, where they rent like ski and snow, like sports and like camping and hiking
Ooh.
gear. And basically, what you would do is that you let them know the days where you need them, and they basically ship it to you, and then you ship it back. And I think it's like all
Wow.
for free. I haven't used it yet, but it looks very convenient and great.
Yeah.
That is a really great option. Other places that rent, I think like Evo also rents, REI rents. I think some of the used gear store, like you're saying, like Play It Against Sports or Play. I always get it. Play It Against Sports.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Also like rents gear. So I feel like there are definitely options out there where you're able to rent them for an affordable price.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that we've talked about this in previous shows when we're talking about camping specifically. I know that the Mountaineers has a really good gear lending library, which is pretty awesome too, which is great, you know, especially if you want to get outside. You know, Marlo's got a day pack. So stuff like that can get kind of expensive if you just want to try something out. I know for sure that Second Gear Sports and Play It Again Sports for stuff like, you know, soccer balls. She's got a yoga mat and a yoga ball. They'll take a lot of that stuff back as well, which is really nice to kind of keep it out of the landfill. So
Right.
definitely. Awesome. You know, it's always a great option to, you know, it's always good to recoup a little bit of money. That never hurts. But also definitely just keeping it in circulation is really a good way to go. So Marla, we've got a couple of suggestions for you. Lots and lots of used places. So definitely check that out. And any used place is also going to likely sell that used gear. So you can try some stuff out. We also want to encourage you to try before you buy. So lots of rental options, you know, for a fee, and also through buy nothing groups, or also just gear exchanges where you can just try some stuff out. Like Vivian, you're saying with your bike, you know, I've definitely rented skis because when you get to skis and bikes, it's really pricey.
Yeah.
But still, even if you're, you know, renting up, you know, buying a backpack, that can be pretty expensive too. You know, if you're just going to borrow it for, you know, a quick trip somewhere. So
Right.
definitely want to look into that. So Marlo, thank you for that question. Vivian, really good tips. I will definitely check some of those places out. And it seems like a lot more stuff is coming into the marketplace within the last year. I think online, I never would have thought about an online like gear exchange ordering system. But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah. And I think especially as folks sort of like during the pandemic last year were clearing out like a lot of like whatever was in their garage, or they realized like when I bought my bike, the person told me that this person was doing one of those like clearing out her garage, and she was like, I love this bike, but I realized like I never ride this one because I guess she had another newer bike or so. So then yeah, they I guess went to the Wonderland Gear Exchange and decided to like sell it there, and I was very happy. I've been in the market looking for a bike forever, and I'm like relatively on the shorter side, so I've been like trying to find, it's like just really hard to find like a small adult like bike.
Yes.
And I told myself I didn't want to buy it new, not only because it's pricey, I just like buying used gear, especially if it's good. And yeah, I was like able to, so I was like very happy. So there's definitely things out there. You just got to have a little bit patience sometime, you know?
Totally, but definitely worth it. And what a great story too. You know, to be like, somebody really loved this thing and they're just ready to find it a new home. So that's awesome. So we'll have a link to definitely one of the great, there's a really great site on Washington Trails Association, which is all about getting people outside for hiking and camping and stuff like that. But they also had a really good list of places that have, that sell used gear, that also rent stuff that you can borrow. So we'll definitely put a link to that in our show notes as well. So one really quick reminder that we wanted to give you, we've been giving it to you for the last couple of weeks, but now that I have Vivian on the show, we wanted to put a plug out there for the Rethink Waste grants. So Vivian, do you want to talk to us a little bit about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So this grant, we have a total of $10,000, and we're willing to give it to small businesses and organizations that have some type of like waste reduction, waste prevention, like idea, or any way to help increase recycling and compost. Or we're awarding about $500 to $5,000 on these projects. And so really encouraging those like small businesses and small organizations in Seattle that is in the waste management service area to, apply. It's free money, take it.
Totally. Get your ideas off the ground. So the waste management service area is West Seattle and Southeast Seattle. And then essentially Ballard and then west of I-5,
Right.
for those of you guys who are watching. And I always like to think of it as like, okay, well, maybe Vivian and I, we have a store together and we would like to really shift some of our customers to be able to, you know, reuse their containers, right? So we might come up with a project to get it off the ground. We've got great expertise with folks like you, Vivian, and with Pat to talk about how we'd be able to do that as a business. And this would be a really good grant for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Or like trying to, I don't know, reuse some of the recyclables and turn it into like art or something, or some type of environmental like ed type of program like can also work too. So yeah, just anything along the lines of that, we're very open to it. Just, you know, let us know in the application. And the application is super easy. It's
Very
just 6
easy.
questions, kind of just outlines the basic of like, what is your project, you know, how is it going to help, you know, your business, organization, or the community. I feel like just very easy to align with like whatever your project is about.
Totally. So all of you out there who are watching, you're like, this is an idea. This is a problem that I would like to fix. It has to do with recycling, composting, or preventing more waste. Definitely look at the Rethink Waste Grant. We'll put a link to it in our show notes. You can also find it on Waste Management Northwest's homepage. It will be off to the side. So, all right, Vivian, thank you so much for joining us. It was so great to have you on.
Thank you so much.
So many good tips and information. I'll definitely be checking out some of those places that you mentioned myself. So.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. All right, folks. Quick reminder, this show is run on your questions, so keep them coming. Hit us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can send an email to askevelyn@seattle.gov. And we'll see you again next week. Pat will still be on vacation, but I'll have another fantastic guest host, so you'll have to tune in and see who that's going to be. All right. Thank you all. And remember, I'm Becca Fong, and life's simpler with less stuff. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.